And I just want to underline a small little thing, the commitment that we have from this panel, right? Specifically from Marcel, who came from Spain today to be with us. This is the commitment he has on this, on his own birthday, right? So congratulations, Marcel. And thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's not a lot, but there's a little cake here for you. If you're hungry, while you share your experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was unexpected.
Congratulations, Marcel. Good morning, everyone. Let me start by greeting this amazing panel. Also to share a thank you word to Microsoft, to iMatch, for bringing another edition of this amazing event of Building the Future, and for delivering such relevant content in this Startup World stage. Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here. We'll have the next 30 minutes to discuss how to build highly effective teams. And let me go straight to the point. Let me start by asking Pedro. Pedro, we live in a fast-paced, constantly changing business world where most of the people struggle for success. We know that one of the key assets for any organization is the teamwork. What do you consider the key assets or the key factors for the success of a team?
Thank you, Luís. In terms of what I consider the mixture, the ingredients for success on your company, obviously your team, as Francisco was introducing, it's critical for your success. And for me, there are very clear aspects of how to build highly successful teams. The first one, top, it's always build your team and manage your team with kindness. That goes before anything else. I have experienced this throughout my career, people that were unkind or were not open, transparent, and direct with their employees, which kindness means is very deep in terms of scope. To the opposite, where today I'm in a company where kindness is paramount to everything that we do, and in 4 years we went from 0 employees to 1,200 in 80 countries, and so I cannot say we represent the full success, but we are on a very interesting path of success. In terms of other aspects of teamwork and what I consider for success, diversity. Please, diversity of your team members, where they come from. We are very lucky because I can hire from anywhere in the world, but diversity from different technical backgrounds, so full diversity on your team, it's critical. The way people think, the way people interact, even the way they perceive the message, the vision that you need to have for your company, it's so different and it's so complementary that is critical for our success. Mm-hmm. I've tried always to do that. I've grown a team over the last 4 years by now I've hired 100, 120 people directly. And I can tell you I have people from Seoul to San Francisco. All my leadership when I was leading finance was led mostly by women, and we were a kick-ass team, and I think that is amazing, and we need to vouch for that. Other aspect that I shared a couple of days ago on introducing this talk on LinkedIn was communication, mm-hmm. Which ties very much with kindness, but communication. Communicate your vision, communicate what you expect from people, communicate their feedback constantly, openly, transparently as much as possible. That leads to a much safer environment that people can perform at the highest, because there's always a level playing field. You are all operating under the same understanding of expectations and how one should work with the other, or what do I expect from Catarina or Marcel when we're going to this, that, or that, and we'll go together because we have a common vision, a shared vision, and we'll go for the same impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You named a couple of aspects here pretty much related with some of the most recent studies, namely from the Aristotle project, not necessarily with the same words, the 5 key elements of high-performing teams from this perspective of the researchers, namely are psychological safety, dependability, structure and clarity, meaning, impact. You named here kindness. I think we can relate this with psychological safety. You named communication. Clearly, we can relate this with the structure and clarity. What do you think about the importance of meaning and impact in the new generations working in companies, in startups, in every field?
There is clearly a gravitas to much more impactful and meaningful companies and work. And I can tell you, my career started in banking and media, and I moved away from that because building another Minions movie was not really my thing. But you see more and more people really wanting to connect with you as a manager and you as a company, truly to what is the impact that you're going to have in the world. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, I work in a company that's having clear, immediate impact, so it's much easier to connect from a vision and impact perspective. But those are key points that continue attracting people and will increasingly attract more.
Mm-hmm. Catarina, coming to you. Several studies constantly show that teams are more productive rather than individuals working alone, and that good teamwork leads to product innovation, to better results, to higher job satisfaction. As a CIO of a big corporate, as Galp, how do you see the importance of teams in driving innovation, in driving productivity, in driving growth, and what strategy and tactics do you use to achieve this?
Okay, so importance of teams for sure. I don't think any of the areas in Galp people work alone. So, so everyone works as a team. And what we've been trying to do, Galp is a company with 150 years old, so it has a heavy background. We run a lot of different business units with different cultures. We've been integrating people from, we had refineries, then we had the natural gas business, so a lot of cultures and ways of working have been get together to a common purpose. What makes a highly effective team, I think it's having a purpose and the sense of belonging. I think the sense of belonging to a team is crucial for the team to be effective. Diversity for sure, but if every single member that works in a team has clarity, there's a specific purpose, they know what their purpose, they know that they will have impact, even if it's not an impact that you can show, but they know what they're doing and what is the purpose, and if there's a sense of belonging to the team, it makes all the difference. We've been moving from being a company with departments, hierarchical departments, to work more as interdependent teams, having teams working from different areas, from different departments. Of course, in the IT department, that's even more important because we run a lot of projects. We have to work with people from all the areas, and what we see is that if they sit together, and sitting together does not mean physically sitting together, it can also be remote, but if we all sit together, if we all know what is the purpose, they really work for getting that purpose. Accountability is key for that, because to have the sense of belonging, also the teams need to be accountable for what they need to achieve.
Thank you so much, Catarina. Marcel, how is it going, the celebration of your anniversary?
So far, so good.
Just kidding. So let's just try to dive again into the startup world. How challenging can it be the process of building and maintaining high-performing teams?
It's not easy. It's not easy. Everything starts with the right hiring, I can tell. And hiring can give us probably for a 20-minute discussion, but the main advice I would say is if it's not a super clear yes, do not hire that person. And then, once you start building a team, for a startup probably it's a bit different because in our case, we need to build them fast. They need to deliver yesterday, and it changed quite a lot. So in our case, for instance, one of the recent teams I had to build, we went from 0 to 70 people in 8 months, right? So when you do this, again, hiring is extremely critical, but you need to make sure that they perform, and the two advices or work for us is first having the right managers and really, really work with them and teach them how to manage, how to be a leader. But the most important thing for managers and for employees is give them clear ownership, and a lot of ownership if you can. So we like to say that one of our values is teaching and learning. But before that, we want people that want to have that ownership and they know basically how to do basic math. With these two things, with ownership and knowing how to count, we can teach them to be great leaders, right? But they need to have that on the DNA. And once they start, basically with them ownership, I don't like being on top of things. They know what they need to do. They know what they need to deliver. And things will come, right? I think that's the best thing you can do. And sometimes it will not work, but at least you give them that opportunity. They feel engaged with the project, and things start to learn, to go away. And go ahead. Yeah.
Looking at your product itself, how do you see the importance of technology, like R&D softwares like Factorial, to contribute to this goal?
That's a very good question. So our vision at Factorial is helping and empower small and medium business to manage their people so they can look on developing talent, right? And we wake up every day trying to solve that problem, both internally for us, but mostly with customers. What we try to do is, to give that ownership to the teams, to empower them. We give tools to their managers. So it's HR software, but it's not for HR. So of course HR has an important vision, but also the manager, and we want to think a lot on the management. If you're managing a team, we want that you have the data, that you know who reports to you, when they go on holidays, the cost of the team, so you can take good decisions, and you have tool to have the conversation with them. So we give to our customers the product that could do, for instance, a performance review, but what we try to also educate our customers and ourselves is this is a tool that empowers you to have a conversation with your team, that you can have a one-to-one with them after doing a performance review, and that hour of conversation is extremely powerful, right? So that's our focus, and that's what we try to do with customers, because a startup or us, maybe we went to some business program or we had some great mentors in the past, but businesses that maybe are operating for many, many years, they know a lot their business, but they don't have probably the same options to get exposure to management programs or to know how to teach this kind of value, right? And we try to solve that with product, but also with advice.
Thank you, Marcel. Catarina, you mentioned the importance of purpose, of sense of belonging. What is the importance also of leadership in the process of the middle management, of the middle managers, in the culture, in the identity, in all this effectiveness of the process of building a highly effective team?
Middle management is key. In a company, such as Galp, where we still have some layers in the hierarchical structure. Middle management, they are the ones that are every day on the day-to-day basis with the team. So being able to cascade the values, the culture to middle management is the key. You can be a most fantastic leader. You can have a clear idea where do you want to go, but if you cannot pass that on to your middle management, you will fail. You will fail. So I think that's key. A middle manager, leadership, and we talked about purpose and accountability. Accountability is not leaving teams on their own. Okay? It's supporting them and giving them feedback and guidance when they need, but also giving them autonomy to comply with their tasks. And sometimes it's hard for managers to do that. I think we tend sometimes to be micromanagers and to be and to perform the tasks instead of the team, or on the other hand, just forget that they exist. And in the end, we're all human. And we were talking about being kind. We're all human. We're all people. So we need to know the people we work with, and those are the middle managers. So if I manage a team with 200 people, there's no way that I know the individual life of each one. But the middle manager, he should know. He should know if someone is passing through a moment which is more complicated, if there's an illness or something, and that's also the role of the middle manager to support. Okay, so I think it's key to make sure that we have managers in the middle manage, because sometimes what happens also in these companies is that the way you get promoted is through technical skills, but soft skills in the middle management are key.
Thank you so much. Pedro, this challenge is even bigger in the context of startups working. How do you build this process of incorporate values, culture, the identity of a company? How do you guarantee this and build this sense of belonging firstly in a 100% remote team, and secondly, what do you think is the more challenging context if you consider a fully remote or a hybrid team?
Okay, so I think there are three questions in that. The building and growing and nurturing in startups and hyper-growth companies is completely crazy. Like you are doubling your team every quarter. Hiring is super fast. You're hiring 70 people in a couple of months or whatever. And so that's where comes the purpose, the really understanding the vision of the company and the values of the company, of your team or company or business unit, wherever the section may be. It's critical, because then you can align your hiring, which is the critical first step of success, to those values, to the purpose and how you operate as a company. And if you are in a hyper-growth trajectory or a very intense project that is coming up, like you mentioning implementation of S/4HANA, you need to hire people that are ready and are understand that their impact is expected in a very short period of time. So the ramp up, you're not going to ramp up in 6 months. Like, we love you, you're great, you're not right for this team. And that's the openness of communication is so important, because the time to impact is very, very short. And ownership, like we don't have time. If I'm hiring 70, 80 people a month, I don't have time to be there every day to micromanage, or like you need to own, sorry the expression, you need to own your shit. Like you need to get your things sorted, and you need to get there, which is hard. But if you align the expectations from the onset with the candidate, and even how you put your positions in the market and the perception, the employee brand you have in the market, I think that is okay, and it's kind of solved. Going into how to do this in a remote setting doesn't change anything. What you need to do is put purpose. How you put purpose into managing teams in the office, and there are a lot of things that you do in office, folks getting together, post-office events or lunches or dynamics like it's someone's birthday and everyone gets together. You need to create these for your remote team. You need to create ways of people connecting to your company, to your department, to your team, but also connecting to the vision. But this also comes from the beginning, the hiring part. Are these people capable of doing that by themselves already? Or is someone that is out of university and needs to be explained everything and needs to much closer connection? It's super hard. I can tell you at the beginning of remote and when I was building the team, we grew 800 people in 1 year. We could not hire people out of university. It's impossible. People that have not experienced how they operate. No, I was hiring top-down, the most experts, like the best experts in the world for each area that I could hire, that my brand could get rich and my money could pay, which was not a lot at the time. But the reality is that it's not for everyone. But if you put purpose and if you put your time, your commitment into it, and I can share you many examples of what this means, but you can look into our public handbook at Remote, which is a perfect guide if you want to start a company or a department fully remote and fully distributed. It works, but you need to put your commitment and your time into it. What's best, hybrid, in-office, or remote? I'm a very zeros and ones here. It's either office or remote. I'm always very skeptical of the differences in terms of information that flows to people that are in office or are outside of the office. But I think you have many successful teams that are managing how to do this. Days that everyone is in the office, for example, or days that you're not expected in the office, but you can come if you want, and it's just a place that you sit versus sitting in a cafe or a workspace. I think this, how you set up yourself, how meetings are organized, how information is dissipated in a company. You cannot expect in a hybrid setting that I tell Marcel something and that everyone knows. Like, no one knows. So unless this is completely disseminated, it does not work. And I'm very, very concerned of companies, or not concerned, it's not my company, so I'm just observing companies that are hybrid, but how do they do it? Because did you go closer to the remote environment, which I think it works because it pushes you to work asynchronously, works on working on documentation, caring about people in a different way that they do in the office with the manager directly, or are you moving closer to the office, which I think it's when potentially things will start failing. But thankfully, we are seeing many examples of extremely successful companies that are fully distributed, GitLab, Atlassian, and many others. And there seems to be a formula for that. And the reality is that I was able to hire the best people in the world for the roles that I had open and the money that I had available. Many happened to be in Portugal, but that was just purely coincidence. Maybe my natural bias, I don't know, but they are still there, and they have new managers, and they're still there. But I was able to hire clearly the best people in the world, and they're doing an excellent job and having an excellent impact. So I don't think the need to smell your colleagues will make you more successful.
Thank you, Pedro. Marcel, you both mentioned the importance of hiring, the recruitment process. How do you avoid the mismatch in the recruitment process, and what is a red flag for you when you are hiring?
So, one thing I truly believe is probably hiring is the most important skill you need from a manager or from a leader. So first thing, if you are a hiring manager, own it. Don't expect another department or team to do it for you. And my secret or my advice will be super honest on the process with the candidate. Tell them exactly what are you looking for, the good things, the challenging things. They need to fully understand your company, and they need to understand the expectations. And then you look at the eyes of that person and you see if you see them enjoying it or not, right? So that's for me the secret. Then what I'm always looking on hiring is, again, I said before, I always look for will above skill. Of course, we need people that needs to do math, that needs to do analysis, that needs to know about product, about sales. Yes, but we can teach it, and we can also work on that. But at least for a startup, when you're building something, when you need to go fast, if the will is not there, it will not work, for sure. And the red flags, what happens sometimes with red flags is that you see that lack of will, or you see that that person may not be super aligned, but you're in a hurry because you need that role, because you want to open that market. And that's painful. It is, because you want to start tomorrow. I want to open Portugal tomorrow, I don't have someone, what do I do? But the best thing is waiting. The best thing is looking for the best person, as you mentioned. Look for the best person for that role and convince them. Because that's also a part of the work of the manager. Convince these people, being honest, but tell them, okay, I'm looking for this challenge, I'm looking for that role, I'm looking for that mission. That's what worked for us. Red flags, misalignment probably on the values, that will be my main one. And what can help is having a second opinion on the process, right? Having someone that is also interviewing with that people. And what I always do with everyone that enters on my team is asking for reference. That might, work for some. Maybe you don't get a red flag, but at least give you some other piece of advice. And for me, at least, it's something that I normally do with my team.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marcel. Catarina, I will raise the same question to all of you. Last question. No matter how experienced you can be or how big an organization can be and all the track record and history behind, there is always a risk of some dysfunctionality in a small team, in a department, whatever. Absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of team accountability, inattention to team objectives are some of the aspects that are commonly identified to lead to this problem. Which one do you consider more common, and what would you recommend to avoid it?
Maybe the absence of trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's at least the one that can have a larger impact. Malfunctions can be circumstantial,
Mm-hmm.
or they can just stay. So I think we need to listen to the people, identify where are the issues. Sometimes there are certain profiles that within some teams they just don't work well, and if you just move them, they're fantastic. I've noticed in all these years a lot of things like that. So I think it's listen. You need first of all to detect, and again, middle management is very important on telling you, hey, we have a situation here, so let's diagnose, see what's going on, and try to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Pedro, do you agree? Would you point?
Absolutely agree. Because trust, you break values alignment, you break the will. So where did the trust broke? So from there, usually there is no path of return.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where do you go back? do you sit again in the office?
Yeah.
And it's like
it all comes from there.
It's very, very hard because you miss ownership. Like you just break the foundations of how we should all be working. But and I think we should not confuse trust without performing.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are very different things. You may not be performing either by personal reasons or misalignment from communication. Like, okay, we can work that out. But from the moment you lose trust, which there was no accountability, or I said that there was no delivery, it's very, very hard to come back from that.
Thank you, Pedro. Marcel, please disagree.
I cannot, so I will talk about another one, but for me, again, this is the building block, the building foundation. If there is no trust, it's impossible I cannot work with someone on my team that I feel that it's impossible. On the commonality, I see often on large organizations, and it's something also that happens when you are a scale-up or you grow, that you see more avoiding conflict or pleasing people, which is something that, it sucks, because just because you are director, VP, whoever, why someone has to tell you something because they know that you will be happy with, but it's not the best decision for the business, right? That's something that we try to fight a lot. It's harder and harder when you grow, but that's something that you need to be extremely transparent with your teams and with your colleagues and with your managers. We're not here to please people, we're here to make a great business, we're on the same boat, but we need to be honest with everyone. And avoiding conflict is something that you see. I see on meetings quite often, and I see two people that I know that someone does not agree but doesn't want to say that. Here, I always tell, just stop it, say it, and then we work together, right?
Thank you so much. We're just on time. Timer is going red. You don't see, but we're just on time. Thank you so much. It was a great privilege to be with you on stage. Catarina, Pedro, Marcel. A round of applause for them. Thank you.
Thank you.